So I've talked to my kids about waking up in the morning and imagining what they want their day to be like and that they can manifest that. So could you take us through how they could apply what you're doing or teaching to that process?
Yes, great question. Well, I use a practice called flow. It's called feeling light, open, and wise. And if there's anything at all that you don't like in your life, or that's not working for you, what we do is there's a process, and you start off with feeling the closing about the thing you're not liking and figuring out what it is, and then you ask yourself what would be better than that, and what would make it even better than that. And you have to search for a little bit. You're thinking, because your first response would be like, well, I want that person to get fired so I don't have to work with them anymore. It's like, no, that'll close you, maybe, but usually it'll close you. So you have to kind of go away from the reaction of the mind. And it's like, I want them to not bother me. I want to be able to get along at work and have it just roll off my back, and there's no effect anymore. And that may be the thing that opens you. We call that a divine purchase order approved when you get an opening like that. What you do is you just let it go. You got the opening. That's the true thing. That's the desired effect that's coming your way, or something better. And then you drop back into this practice that we have called flow, where you stop and you feel your hands and feet again. And there will be something in a few seconds that comes up out of your body and will begin to actually move you into the world. I kind of equate it to like if you're, making Thanksgiving dinner and you're mixing this and kicking the door shut with your foot there and having this and turning this timer on and telling this person to cut the tomatoes, and there's a flow and energy to it. Or dancing is another one where you go to the beat before your body's there, before your mind can get you there, because it feels so right. We all have these energies of flow. Well, the main way we're supposed to be living is in this flow experience. And in that flow, there's no resistance. And when something comes up that closes you and that is not working for you, you use the practices to get back to open, and you open up that channel again. And so there's a leading that happens in your body, and life becomes this full formed dance with what you're perfectly here to do. I believe everybody has significance and belonging, and that we have 100,000 life purposes or more. It's smiling at the cash register person, that's giving you your coffee, or asking them how they are, giving somebody a book, or starting a health food business like you are, a health supplement business like you are, right? Or doing the coaching that I'm doing. All of us, when we use this flow, these things that we're supposed to be a part of naturally happen. And the things that we're not go away. They literally start shedding away, and things become very clear. And so for your kids, I would have them sit feeling their hands and feet in the morning and wait until this energy comes up out of them to get out of bed. And you may think, well, they'll never get out of bed, right? But it's not true. There'll come a moment where once you tap into this, where it feels natural. Like, I don't use an alarm clock. And when I have to, because I'm afraid like I'm going to miss the flight, I always wake up 1 minute before it's going to go off, which I love, because I don't want that jarring energy in the morning. Yeah. And so this thing happens. It just begins going through, and there's a perfection. And I think all of nature is operating in this. Whales migrate into it. Seeds come up out of the ground. The wind moves through the sky. The trees know when to, leaf out, like they are right now in spring. And we are now getting the tool to be able to start becoming a part of that. And once more people begin to learn how to do this, I think we're going to see a dramatic change in our species, and a lot of our fear dropping away, and our capacity for true contribution and joy moment to moment. And that is the solution that I believe we need to the desperation and the loneliness and the anxiety and fear that we are in right now. It's not consuming massive amounts of media to put more information in our head to feel safe. It's dropping into where safety always resides and learning how to move from there. So we're always in the right place at the right time, doing our thing that we're here to do.
Well, and as you're talking, what comes to my mind is the effect of doing this practice and being successful on it, or with it, how it will actually positively impact your physical health. Yes. Because of course, stress is so detrimental to your physical health. And I tell my clients all the time, it doesn't matter what you're eating or what supplements you're taking. If you're stressed out and not sleeping, your health is going to go out the window. And so if you are able to take control of your thoughts, your mind, and your physical health, and they all feed on each other, your health, you're going to be at an optimal level in body, mind, and spirit. And I just love this. Well, we've got a few minutes left. I want to know, can you use the system to see the future, see what you're supposed to be doing in the future, kind of like that magic 8 ball?
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny that you said magic 8 ball, because this is not a yes or a no system. Like it really is more like the hot cold game. Because what happens when you get an answer on the magic 8 ball that you don't like?
You shake it again.
Shake it again, baby. You shake it again. Exactly. And so the cool thing about this is it is always giving you information. So it's more like playing the hot cold game when you're a kid. You get an opening. And those large openings, I kind of think of it as a compass, and north would be like ecstatic. You've got this creative idea and you can't stop thinking about it. It's business or this, whatever it is. And then from north, it kind of keeps going down. East or west is neutral. And most of us who have been practicing and mastering this just live in this beautiful, neutral, peaceful place. And then it goes down all the way down to south, could be terror, a panic feeling, that on the way to the airport and you go, oh, did I leave my ID? Right? That feeling is that kind of way it is. And so it's not that it's interesting, because one of the questions is destiny versus, you having self-control over your future, right? That's a big question for a lot of students, because we don't know. What we do know is that the things that open us are the things that we desire most in our lives, that are perfect for us as people. And if you follow this, it's not as if you can see the future, but over and over again, that thing that you open to or something better happens over and over and over. And then the path to get there is led through this flow, this opening, going from the next right thing to the next right thing. So you can feel that you're moving into that future with a faith and a solidity in your body. That are you seeing the future, or are you creating the future through the energy of your body? Right. And so I don't know, it's one of the most fabulous things is once, we have a lot of people that know how to do this now, and the great conversations we can have about spirituality and connection and what's happening here and fourth dimensional things. And, all of that really is part of what we get to experience as a community, is these great conversations, and I don't know. I don't think we can see the future, but I do know. Real quick story. I was in the Denver airport. Let me give you this. This is interesting. These things are magic and they do happen. It was shutting down because of weather. I had a friend with me. I was teaching the next day in San Francisco. They said, you got to go get a hotel. We're shutting everything down. As we're leaving the airport, we were both closed. I was like, are you closed? Because I'm starting to think about hotels and how am I going to cancel this class I'm teaching and all that, right? And he goes, yeah. I was like, I'm feeling open to stay at the airport. So we go back. People are telling us we're crazy. What are you doing here? You should leave. And I'm explaining it to them. And they're like, okay. About 2.5 hours later, this flight crew comes in. There was a break in the storm. They come in. They're going to San Francisco. We were the only 2 people on the flight, which is really creepy, by the way. It's like, ooh, I don't know, whatever, and I made it. Now, how did it know that? And students all the time, we had somebody who didn't have a plane ticket. She thought she didn't. And she's on every group coaching call going, I still don't have a ticket, but when I go to buy it, I close. And I have this conference I've already paid for. About 2 weeks before the conference, her husband came in with a credit card bill and was like, what's this charge? She had done all the research. It was late at night. She bought it, never got an email, thought it didn't go through. And in the morning, when she went to buy another ticket, she closed. And she had a ticket the whole time. So as far as the future thing, I don't know. But as far as tapping into an extraordinary wisdom that we don't normally have access to, and it's consistent, that is happening for people who are studying this.
I have felt that just as you're talking. I mean, I definitely, in a very elementary way, without your schooling, have felt that strength of, I guess it would be an opening and closing guidance system. I just had called it more of my intuition. And what's happened with me, and I'll tell you just a quick thing that happens with me where I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, is that a lot of times my body will physically have an ailment out of the blue. And I'll say, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do with this skin rash? What is it? And I've got my scanning devices, I've got my treatments, I've got my supplements. I test things on and I figure out what it is. Within a week, I will at least have 2 to 3 people come to me with the exact same ailment. And then I think, okay, God, That's why. And this is what I'm doing. And this is the answer to your problem as well. And I have independent sources, whether it's a scanning machine or a mentor or a practitioner, confirming these things that are going on with me. And they don't know each other. They're not talking to each other, but everything's confirming what my intuition is telling me. And it's just confirming that. So I just wanted to touch on that.
True.
Zen,
Yeah. That's what happens when you're in alignment. That's it. And I have the same thing. I'll go through something and then tons of students will need it in the next 3 weeks. And I'll be like, oh, okay, here we go. And same thing. And that is part of being aligned. Exactly.
Awesome.